Imagine waking up to find your email account locked, your password fails, someone else is inside. Now multiply that exact scenario across 3 billion people. To understand this massive breach, we have to look back to the early 2000s. Before Google's search algorithms dictated the flow of the internet, Yahoo was the king of the web. Yahoo operated as a centralized digital ecosystem. Tens of millions of people relied on this one dashboard for their daily news, their stock portfolios, their instant messaging, and their primary communication. Because of that massive footprint, registering for a Yahoo email account became a rite of passage. For a huge portion of the globe, setting up that inbox established their foundational online identity. As the internet evolved and users signed up for new platforms, they carried that original identity with them. That specific Yahoo address became the default recovery email for early social media accounts, newly established online bank accounts, and private cloud storage. By compromising Yahoo, attackers gained administrative control over the digital identities of half the planet. The infiltration happened completely in the dark. Sometime between 2013 and 2014, attackers quietly bypassed Yahoo's internal security systems and set up camp inside the servers. For years, the company's leadership had no idea they were there. The intruders methodically siphoned off immense databases of user information. They took names, backup email addresses, and phone numbers. But the most dangerous assets they extracted were the text files containing users' security questions. This diagram illustrates how those answers functioned as authentication shortcuts. If an attacker knew your high school mascot or your mother's maiden name, they could navigate to an external website, like your bank, click Forgot Password, and use that stolen trivia to override the standard login process. Humans also rely heavily on convenience. The attackers knew millions of users were copying and pasting the exact same passwords across multiple websites. Armed with those hashed passwords and recovery answers, the hackers could automate login attempts across the web. A single compromised Yahoo node triggered a cascading failure across dozens of other completely unrelated digital platforms. The objective was never to snoop through private conversations. The attackers systematically hijacked the foundational infrastructure of user verification itself. It took years for the reality of the breach to surface. When Yahoo finally issued its first public disclosure, the internet braced for the fallout. The initial estimate provided to the public was certainly massive, but it appeared somewhat contained. The company announced that hundreds of millions of user accounts had been compromised. Then, internal investigations deepened. Outside security firms began analyzing the stolen databases circulating online, and Yahoo was forced to drastically revise that victim count upward. The pressure mounted as independent cybersecurity experts analyzed the sheer weight of the stolen data. The numbers simply didn't align with the official story. Finally, the company dropped a staggering admission. The total number of affected accounts wasn't hundreds of millions, it was 3 billion. That meant every single Yahoo account that existed at the time of the attack had been compromised. No user was spared. This milestone cemented the event as the largest known data breach in history, permanently expanding the scale of global cybercrime. And the most terrifying reality of that timeline is that the largest digital heist ever conducted remained completely invisible to its victims for nearly half a decade. The corporate consequences were immediate. At the time the disclosures were made, telecommunications giant Verizon was in the final stages of acquiring Yahoo, and the revelations severely derailed those negotiations. Facing an enormous loss of user trust and looming government investigations, Yahoo's value plummeted. The final acquisition price was slashed by hundreds of millions of dollars. The massive financial damage forced the entire tech industry to abandon outdated security protocols. Companies rapidly pivoted toward the robust standard of two-factor authentication and stronger encryption limits. The practice of relying on a simple, easily guessable security question to guard sensitive financial and personal data was discredited across the industry. Unlike stolen credit cards, life history data cannot be canceled or replaced. You cannot legally change your biological birthday, you cannot change your hometown, and you cannot alter your mother's maiden name. The Yahoo breach stripped the privacy from billions of identities. It left massive archives of unchangeable, deeply personal data quietly circulating through the dark web, waiting to be used for